Aldis returned to his position as SmackDown General Manager on July 12, 2026, ending a period of administrative leave that had kept him away from the show. That leave followed an earlier backstage confrontation with Gunther, a dispute that had already strained the relationship between the two men before the events of this episode unfolded. Aldis's reinstatement placed him immediately back into direct contact with the Austrian competitor, and the tension resumed within the same broadcast. The episode opened with Cody Rhodes officially accepting a challenge to face CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Punk had captured the title from Sami Zayn on Raw just days earlier, ending Zayn's championship reign after only 9 days. That title change set the stage for the confrontation that would follow later on SmackDown, as Gunther's frustration over the championship situation carried directly into his dealings with Aldis. Gunther confronted Aldis over how the title picture had been handled, demanding that the general manager correct what he viewed as an unfair outcome. Rather than granting Gunther the opportunity he sought, Aldis announced a tag team match for Saturday night's main event, scheduled for July 18 at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The match would pit Gunther and Sami Zayn against Punk and Rhodes, a decision that used Gunther's own complaints against him by placing him in a match alongside him and tied to his championship frustrations rather than granting him a singles opportunity. The announcement carried an additional layer of controversy. Aldis had previously stated that Zayn was taking a mental health break and would not be appearing on SmackDown. Despite that stated absence, Zayn remained scheduled to compete in the tag match at Madison Square Garden, a detail that raised questions among viewers and commentators about the consistency of the general manager's own ruling. The attack unfolds. Gunther did not respond well to the match announcement. Moments after Aldis delivered the news, Gunther turned on the general manager inside the ring, striking him before applying a rear naked choke. Officials attempted to intervene, and Gunther briefly released the hold under pressure from the group trying to separate the two men. He did not walk away. Instead, Gunther returned to Aldis and reapplied the sleeper hold, refusing to let go despite continued attempts by WWE personnel to pull him off. Aldis was left limp in the ring as the hold continued. The assault carried on long enough that Cody Rhodes left the backstage area and made his way down to the ring in response. As Rhodes approached, the broadcast came to an end, closing the show on an unresolved image of Aldis motionless and Rhodes rushing toward the ring apron. The attack marked the second time this year that Gunther and Aldis had clashed physically, following an earlier altercation after Night of Champions 2026, when Gunther lost in a main event match and confronted Aldis backstage afterward. Footage distributed after the broadcast showed additional detail that had not aired live. Rhodes reached the ring and pulled Gunther away from Aldis, ending the assault. Rhodes then challenged Gunther to a one-on-one match on the spot. Gunther declined the challenge and left the area without responding further, leaving the confrontation without an immediate resolution and setting up unfinished business heading into the following weeks. Elsewhere on the card. The Aldis attack was not the only disruption during the July 10 broadcast. Earlier in the night, a match between United States champion Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes was interrupted before a winner could be determined. Baron Corbin returned to WWE without warning and attacked both competitors, leaving the match unresolved and adding another storyline thread heading toward the promotion's next major events. WWE also confirmed that Paige and Brie Bella will team up against Fatal Influence at the July 18 Saturday night's main event card, giving the Madison Square Garden show additional stakes beyond the Gunther situation. Backstage reaction and reported consequences. The severity of the attack drew attention beyond the in-ring storyline itself. Aldis's administrative leave earlier this year had already stemmed from friction with Gunther, indicating that WWE management had previously taken steps to separate the two men following their prior confrontation. His return to the general manager role on July 10 placed him back in Gunther's path almost immediately, and the events of the episode suggest that the underlying tension had not been resolved during his time away. Reports and speculation from wrestling media outlets have suggested that a physical assault on a general manager character is being treated with more weight than a standard storyline confrontation, given that Aldis had only just been reinstated after his prior removal from the show. Some coverage has speculated about the involvement of company leadership, including Triple H, in shaping how this situation is handled internally, though no official statement addressing internal disciplinary action has been confirmed publicly as of this writing. Any claims describing specific consequences, removals, or leadership responses beyond what has aired on WWE programming should be treated as speculation rather than confirmed fact. What is confirmed is the storyline detail that Aldis has been rumored to be preparing for an in-ring return, a detail that gained renewed attention following the July 10 attack. According to reporting from Wrestling Online, Aldis has not competed in a match since October 2023 and has never wrestled inside a WWE ring. The speculation surrounding his in-ring readiness intensified specifically because of the nature of Sunday's assault, with some outlets suggesting SummerSlam could be the setting for a confrontation between Aldis and Gunther if the storyline continues to escalate. History between Gunther and Aldis. The July 10 attack did not occur in isolation. The rivalry between Gunther and Aldis traces back to earlier in 2026, when Gunther's frustration over the SmackDown Championship picture first boiled over into a direct confrontation with the general manager following Night of Champions. That earlier altercation, described in WWE's own programming as an intense and personal exchange, resulted in Aldis being placed on administrative leave. Gunther's dissatisfaction with how his championship opportunities were being managed has remained a consistent thread connecting both incidents, with the SummerSlam build serving as the backdrop for both confrontations. The two altercations, several weeks apart, point to an ongoing pattern rather than an isolated incident. The first confrontation removed Aldis from his role temporarily. The second, occurring on the very night of his return, escalated to a sustained physical assault that required intervention from another competitor to bring to an end. This progression frames the July 18 tag match not simply as a scheduling decision, but as a direct continuation of unresolved hostility between Gunther and WWE management. What comes next? The tag team match remains scheduled for Saturday night's main event on July 18 at Madison Square Garden, with Gunther and Sami Zayn set to face CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. The pairing places Gunther in the position of teaming with Zayn, a competitor connected to the very championship situation that triggered his frustration in the first place, while facing off against Rhodes, the men who intervened to stop his attack on Aldis just days earlier. Cody Rhodes' challenge to Gunther for a singles match, issued immediately after pulling him off Aldis, remains unanswered. Gunther's decision to walk away from the challenge rather than accept it leaves open the possibility of a future confrontation between the two, separate from the scheduled tag match. Whether that singles match materializes, and whether Nick Aldis's rumored in-ring preparation leads to an eventual confrontation with Gunther, remains unconfirmed. The scheduled July 18 event at Madison Square Garden stands as the next opportunity for these tensions to play out in front of a live audience, with SummerSlam looming as a further point on the calendar where this rivalry could reach a resolution.